Ever since the Halo franchise started back in 2001, it has been a very large part of my life. I grew up with these games, playing them over and over as they came out. And it turning 25 years old later in November, I kind of wanted to delve into it and share with people what makes it so special and so meaningful to me. And to do that, I wanted to sort of go through the history of Halo and kind of where it got its start, how it evolved over time. This is going to be a very long, but also sort of casual series. I don't know if I would call it a documentary necessarily. That's kind of the closest thing that I can come up with in my head. But I also think it's more of a showcase as to what makes these games so special. So bear with me because I really don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm kind of making this up as I go along, and I hope you enjoy. By the time the first Halo had begun development, Bungie had already been around for a little bit. It started in 1990 with Alex Seropian, who had single-handedly developed a Pong-like game for Macintosh computers. Macintosh at the time was a small market for gaming, but Seropian felt this made it less competitive and easier to find recognition in. Alex's Pong clone wouldn't reach many people, but most of those it did reach remembered it. A year later, Alex would officially incorporate the name Bungie and release another game, this time being a more official release called Operation Desert Storm. With the help of friends and family, he'd sell copies of this game from his own bedroom, eventually sending out around 2,500 of them. Not long after, Alex would be contacted by Jason Jones. Jones was an old classmate of his that had been working on his own game, Minotaur: The Labyrinth of Crete. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Partnering with Jones, Alex helped him get the game released. Minotaur was arguably more successful, keeping pace with the sales of Desert Storm despite having hardware requirements that were much less common for the time it came out. Following these successes, Jones and Seropian brought more people on board for Bungie. Shortly after they released their next game, Pathways of Darkness, they had taken their number to a team of 6. Pathways of Darkness was one of the first first-person shooters for the Mac, winning 2 awards and, more importantly, showing Seropian and Jones the importance of world building. Bungie would go on to continue expanding and growing. Initially, the team wanted to follow Pathways of Darkness with a sequel, but this expanded and grew into something else entirely. The game that most people would agree was Bungie's biggest success before Halo, Marathon. Marathon was a big success, being considered the rival to Doom, with some even considering it better than the latter game's sequel. A notable quality of Marathon was the way it conveyed its lore to the players. Terminals were scattered throughout the game, allowing more casual players to get the basic experience without having to pay attention to text scrolls or long-winded explanations. Marathon's success would also gain the attention of a future key player in the Halo franchise, Martin O'Donnell. By this point, O'Donnell's company Total Audio had been creating the music for an adventure game called Riven. Once they had finished their work there, Marty contacted Bungie himself to talk about working together. Now that Bungie was growing bigger and better still, they expanded the Marathon series beyond just the Macintosh platform, moving to Windows as well. While Marathon did get a sequel, the team didn't want to immediately make a third one, wishing to avoid having their next game compared to Quake, a similar first-person shooter game. This turned them into the direction of developing a real-time strategy game. During the development of this RTS, Jason Jones would become frustrated with being unable to implement vehicle physics in a satisfying way. Despite this, progress continued, with the spotlight being shined on the idea that hundreds of units could be fighting each other on a battlefield. With O'Donnell producing the music, Bungie released Myth: The Fallen Lords in 1997. Myth would see a sequel the following year, and both games would be extraordinarily well received. By 1998, Bungie was a success powerhouse. However, Jones hadn't quite gotten over the idea of perfecting vehicular combat. Selecting 3 other developers, he had them expand from Myth's programming into something with more of a science fiction twist. Joseph Staten would also be hired during this time. He would go on to have one of the longest running careers associated with the Halo franchise. Staten and Jones would meet with Steve Jobs, where they convinced him to showcase their upcoming game at the 1999 Macworld Conference and Expo. The only issue being, they'd have to come up with a name better than, well, this.
starting to see some great games come back to the Mac, but this is one of the coolest I've ever seen. This game is going to ship early next year from Bungie, and this is the first time anybody has ever seen it. It's the first time they've debuted it. And so I'm very happy to welcome on the stage Jason Jones, who is the co-founder of Bungie and the Halo project lead. Halo is the name of this game, and we're going to see, for the first time, Halo. Welcome, Jason.
Thanks, Steve. Yep. Everything you're about to see is being rendered in real time on a Macintosh using OpenGL.
The game was shown a year later at the E3 conference in June 2000, and while people were excited to try it out, things were starting to become shaky for Bungie. Even though their games had been successful and well received, Bungie had also regularly struggled to meet deadlines. Worse yet, the Myth sequel had shipped out with an unfortunate coding error that ended up costing the company $800,000 in recalls. Fearing they could be down and out soon, their executive vice president Peter Tomte threw an offer into the direction of Macintosh's competitor, Microsoft. Seeing the market potential for the video game scene, Microsoft had been developing their own commercial gaming console to compete with Sony and Nintendo. However, both competing companies already had successful and popular products in households. In order for Microsoft to get their foot in the door, they would need something only they could have. So when Tomte came in with an offer to buy Bungie, who already had fans and a following with their up-and-coming game, Microsoft was thrilled. There was just one caveat that would come with the deal, one that Bungie wasn't going to like: a deadline. Microsoft wanted Halo, which now had its finalized name, to be ready to launch with the console in 2001. the concepts for the game were still loose and fairly unconnected, and even still, Jason Jones felt the game needed to be shifted yet again to a first-person shooter, with the game having already shifted out of an RTS into a third-person shooter around a year prior. Needless to say, almost everything had to be redone. To make matters worse, Microsoft was unable to reach a deal on a tie-in game for the Spielberg movie AI: Artificial Intelligence, making Halo the tentpole title for the Xbox. The following months were pure chaos. Development for the full campaign of the game had to be completed within 5 months, and by mid-2001, a good chunk of the script still hadn't been completed. Bungie developers were scrambling to meet deadlines and complete coding. Microsoft's marketing department insisted that Halo as a name alone wasn't enough to sell the game to players, and while general audiences were still impressed with the demonstration for the game they saw at the E3 in 2001, it was clear to critics that the working version of the game presented was far from perfect. Employees at Bungie were working double overtime. Playtesters for the game's campaign kept complaining they were getting lost. And Joseph Staten was working on cutscenes for so long that Marty O'Donnell recalled receiving scenes to compose music for just 3 days before their deadline. Microsoft decided to attach Combat Evolved as a subtitle to the game to try and help unfamiliar audiences understand that the game was supposed to be a first-person shooter. With everything coming down to the wire, Halo really was becoming the desperate Hail Mary that the Xbox would need to survive. Alright, so this is Halo Combat Evolved. This is where things are going to become a little more casual. I'm still going to share facts as I found them. And I've tried to organize things so that, I kind of talk about them in the order that they appear in the game. I do apologize for the lighting. This was a 2001 game, so it is 25 years old. I don't know if it was my software that had an issue, or if it was my Xbox.
We made a blind jump. How did they...
Get here first? The Covenant ships have always been faster. As for tracking us all the way from Reach, at light speed my maneuvering options were limited.
We were running dark, yes?
I know it looks dark now, but it does balance out as I go.
They were waiting for us on the far side of the planet.
So, where do we stand?
Our fighters are mopping up the last of their recon picket now, nothing serious. But I've isolated approach signatures for multiple CCS-class battle groups. Make it 3 capital ships per group. And in about 90 seconds, they'll be all over us.
Well, that's it then. Bring the ship back up to Combat Alert Alpha.
Of course, that is Jen Taylor as Cortana.
And
Pete
Cortana.
Stacker voices Captain Keyes.
Let's give our old friends a warm welcome.
I've already begun.
This is a very iconic scene here. Kind of getting to see how the UNSC operates. You can see Pelicans docked within the Pillar of Autumn here. If you look closely, you'll also be able to see Scorpions maneuvering around, and of course, Warthogs moving freely throughout the ship. You're about to get a speech from Johnson here, which varies based on what difficulty you're playing on. I'll be playing on normal difficulty just to keep things semi-quick.
It is our job to finish what the flyboys started. We are leaving this ship platoon and engaging the Covenant on solid ground. When we meet the enemy, we will rip their skulls from their spines and toss them away, laughing. Am I right, Marines? Sir, yes, sir. Damn right I am. Now move it out. Double time.
Attention all personnel. We are re-engaging the enemy.
What you just heard there was a Warthog crashing in the background.
All you green
But I
horns
understand
who
that
wanted
was
to
a
see
bug
Covenant up close.
that was
This
only
is gonna be
included in
your
the
lucky
initial
day.
release of the game.
sir? Right. Let's thaw him out.
Okay. Bringing low-level systems online. Cracking the case in 30 seconds. He's hot! Blowing the pins in 5!
Tube shows green. Cycle complete.
Sorry for the quick thaw, Master Chief. Things are a little hectic right now. The disorientation should pass quickly.
Welcome back, sir. We'll have you battle-ready stat.
Being on normal, they still have me go through the tutorial.
Reading for your battlesuit's diagnostics. Good. Thank you, sir.
I'm bringing your health monitors online, sir.
And I do like the touch of this. They sort of justify
Okay, sir. Go ahead and
in
climb out of the
game
cryotube.
why you have all these different things in your heads-up display.
I gave you a double dose of the wake-up stim. Take a quick walk around the cryo bay and join me at the optical diagnostic station when you're ready.
It's telling me there the left stick is to move, the right stick is to look. At that point I was
Stand on the red square, please.
considering trying to see if there were any ways for me to change the brightness.
But we're short of time, Chief. Just look at each of the flashing panels to target
But it's
them.
not as big a deal here because I do get the flashlight, so
Okay, that looks good.
I figured any areas that look kind of dark I can just use that.
Invert your looking pitch, so you can see if you like it better that way. Try targeting the flashing lights again.
I am not an inverted looking kind of guy. I'm not sure what was going on there, but for some reason the lights weren't triggering.
Okay. Try looking up and down again, please. Do you want me to leave it like that or switch it again? Okay, I'll leave the pitch normal, but if you want, you can change it yourself later.
I was also a little jarred by the sensitivity because I had assumed it was going to feel very low, so I jacked it up to 7 and wasn't quite expecting it to be as fast as it was, so that took some adjusting. But of course, a nice touch to this tutorial is that even though you're going through all these steps of just learning how to play and what your controls are, you still hear Cortana in the background as things sort of escalate and become more dire.
All right. Shields read as fully charged.
Okay, sir. Bring them down to test the automatic recharge.
This is showing you essentially how your shields work.
Recharging normally. We're showing green.
Once they're down, you just have to sort of wait a second for them to come back.
Send the Master Chief to the bridge immediately.
Captain, we'll have to skip the weapons diagnostics and
On the double, crewman.
Aye, aye, sir. The skipper seems jumpy. We'd better get moving. We'll find you weapons later.
Okay, I'll leave the self-diagnostics running at least. Oh God, they're trying to get through the door! Intruders in cryo too! Please, Johnny!
Sam! Sam! Come on, we've got to get the hell out of here. This way.
There aren't many scripted events you get to witness mid-gameplay, but that, I think, is one of them. I mean, obviously it is one of them, but I don't know how many more of those there are. I don't think I've ever kept track.
Alert, all hands. Board charges on board 4, 7, and 12. Major key
I can't believe this is happening!
Something this does really well is it's giving you something to do that's more exciting, but you're still technically in the tutorial. Like, you just got told how to crouch. You have a nice little potential jump scare there for anyone who's never played the game before.
Cortana says to get to the bridge, double quick. Sir, the captain needs you on the bridge ASAP. Better follow me.
Nailed it!
I always thought this was a very cool sequence here, being able to follow the Marine like through all this chaos. It's not much, but it does really sell you on the fact that like you need to be moving quickly.
Captain Keyes is waiting for us, sir.
Captain Keyes.
Good to see you, Master Chief. Things aren't going well. Cortana did her best, but we never really had a chance.
A dozen Covenant superior battleships against a single Halcyon-class cruiser. With those odds, I'm content with 3, make that 4 kills. Sleep well?
No thanks to your driving, yes.
So you did miss me.
Report!
It must have been one of their boarding parties. I'd guess an antimatter charge.
Control for the main cannon is offline!
Captain, the cannon was my last offensive option.
All right, then. I'm initiating Code Protocol Article 2. We're abandoning the Autumn. That means you too, Cortana.
While you do what? Go down with the ship?
In a matter of speaking. The object we found, I'm gonna try and land the Autumn on it.
With all due respect, sir, this war has enough dead heroes.
I appreciate your concern, Cortana, but...
Now, from what I understand,
Protocol is clear. Destruction or...
I believe Keyes is wearing a name tag, and if you zoom in on it real close, all it says is "My name Keyes." I don't think they were able to fit the "is" there on the space they had.
Which is where you come in, Chief. Get Cortana off this ship. Keep her safe from the enemy. If they capture her, they'll learn everything. Force deployment, weapons research. Earth.
I understand.
The Autumn will continue evasive maneuvers until you initiate a landing sequence. Not that you'll listen, but I'd suggest letting my subroutines handle the final approach.
Excellent work, Cortana. Thank you. Are you ready?
Yank me.
Good luck, Master Chief.
Your architecture isn't much different from the Autumn's.
Don't get any funny ideas.
I don't keep it loaded, son. You'll have to find ammo as you go.
So that line, a lot of people have criticized that line, since you can take about 2 steps outside of the bridge here and find ammo. That is an orphaned line from a beta test where Chief was supposed to grab ammo from a crew member who had died defending the bridge. And I think that whole sequence was sort of taken out. So now you instead just find ammo right here, and you're ready to go. The very first enemies they have you fight are, of course, the grunts. Very basic enemies to put you up against. And in the very next room, they already have you fighting elites. They come with their own shields that you have to tear down.
Fall back to secondary defense.
I have never seen the movie Aliens, but it sounds to me like the interiors for the Pillar of Autumn were heavily influenced by that movie. In fact, I've been told from other people that there are a lot of references to the Alien franchise in this game, but I've never seen those movies. So if you spot any, feel free to let me know in the comments. And of course, this is just telling me how to reload, how to switch weapons, how to pick up weapons when I find them. Something you will see me doing. I tried not to do any sort of exploits while I was playing this, because I did have to learn how to do a lot of them when I was speedrunning this game on Legendary. But something you'll see me doing is called backpack reloading. Basically, I can double tap the reload button, swap to another weapon, and while I'm holding that other weapon, I'll still be reloading the first weapon, even though it's not in my hands. So by the time I swap back to it, it will have a full magazine ready to go. I was trying not to do that. It's kind of just a habit I've picked up though, and after a bit I just figured it doesn't really matter all that much. But like right there, you can see I started the reload, switched to my assault rifle, and I believe once you see me switch back, I will be holding a fully loaded Magnum. And I went into that little alien dropship there to pick up overshields. That gives me 2 extra bars of shields than what I would normally have. The only thing is they don't regenerate, so it's kind of a temporary boost thing.
They're everywhere!
Before Halo came out, a lot of first-person shooters followed the Doom approach when it came to how many weapons you could hold. Now, Halo was not the first game to do just 2 weapons at a time. That's a very common misconception, but it probably popularized it. Of course, only being able to hold 2 weapons at a time, as opposed to being able to carry as many as you want, kind of forces you to strategize and plan ahead. Here you're gonna see some crew members of the Pillar of Autumn up ahead. They're both going to die, sadly. But something I did not know until I did some research on this was that crew members actually have different AI programming than what your Marine teammates have. Marines are programmed to run towards fights and kind of get involved in them, whereas crew members are supposed to run away from them and avoid them at all cost.
Covenant, on the landing above us.
Take that! Cavalry has arrived!
Keep your head down, there's 2 of us here now, remember?
And that voice line plays for the very first time you lose your shield. It's sort of the reminder to the players that when that sound plays, that little dinging sound you hear right now, that means your shields are down. You need to be careful.
Oh. I'm hit! Whoa! Want some more? Keep it up.
Combat Evolved does have a betrayal system that it incorporates with your teammates. So if you kill, usually it's 2, sometimes it takes more, but if you end up killing 2 of your teammates, they will turn on you and shoot back. You won't see that happen in this playthrough because I wasn't shooting my teammates this time, but very interesting mechanic that it's just cool to see because it's really just a detail that probably didn't need to be added, but it adds a lot. And here you can see all these lifeboats trying to make it out. And that voice line's a very good hint, very early on, to what the ring overall means to the Covenant.
Warning. Blast doors closing. We have to use the ship's maintenance access ways. Follow the nav point. It will lead you to an opening.
And this is just letting me know what nav points are. This game really needed nav points because a big thing when it came out was how often people were getting lost. There were a lot of complaints about that. So nav points were very necessary. And you still won't even see them in every level.
I'm detecting Covenant movement outside the access ways. Activating motion tracker. Let's find a safe exit. They're right on top of us. Let's find another way through.
And this is our little tutorial scene for the motion tracker, which has now appeared there in the bottom left.
The door's control mechanism is offline, but it's taken a lot of damage. You should be able to bash it open with the butt of your weapon.
This will also serve as a tutorial to teach us that attacking enemies in the back will instantly kill them if we hit them with a melee. Just like that.
Pull out the nearest evac station.
Something I really love about Halo, especially with this level, is how it always has areas that kind of lead back to other areas you've already been into. So this is obviously where we started the level. It leads around this tutorial area, and you can see that crewmate that was killed up top. And I had thought there was an Easter egg for another Spartan that was supposed to be on board the Pillar of Autumn, but after doing further research, I don't think that Easter egg was added until the remaster of the game 10 years later.
Combat teams, Sierra through Victor. Prepare for evac.
It is really impressive how this whole level really has served as just one long tutorial. But they really, I think the slower beginning to it sort of fools you into thinking you're not really playing a whole tutorial, if that makes sense. Of course, right here they show you how grenades work, finally allowing you to have that, and by the end of the level, you now have access to pretty much every mechanic in the game.
There's one last lifeboat. Quickly, get aboard before it launches.
Oh no! Oh no! Ah!
Now would be a very good time to leave.
Punch it.
Ah, sir. We're disengaged, going for minimum safe distance.
We're gonna make it, aren't we, sir? I don't want to die out here.
Look!
that thing, Lieutenant?
Hell if I know, but we're landing on it.
Your Honor, she's been hit!
I knew it. The Autumn's accelerating. Keys is going in manually.
Heads up, everyone, this is it. We're entering the ring's atmosphere in 5.
Sure you wouldn't rather take a seat?
We'll be fine.
If I still had fingers, they'd be crossed.